Hello and welcome to Tenby in South Wales. We are here for a summer evening swim that kicks off one of the most popular events in the multi-sport calendar. It's Friday night and the long course weekend is about to get underway. There's a lot going on over the course of the weekend, with more than 30,000 people flooding this scenic seaside town to take part in a range of swim, bike and run challenges. But it's the long course weekend that provides the biggest test of all. A 2.4 mile swim starting here on the North Beach gets things underway. Then it's about recovery and trying to make the most of your strengths ahead of the next 2 days of competition. Defending champions Paris Edwards and Marcus Hultgren are back to fight for their titles. Hultgren will be going for a hat-trick, but there are plenty of strong athletes in a packed 2018 field that could stop him. Here's your commentator, Patrick Winterton.
Both defending champions, incidentally, have claimed to be undertrained. We'll find out soon enough whether that is the case. But the first stage of the long course weekend is the Wales Swim. For those going the shorter distance, it's 1.2 miles, one lap of the course. For those who want to take part in the full long course, it's a 2.4 mile swim, 2 clockwise loops, an Australian exit in between. It will take the best approximately 50 minutes. Spring tides means we'll have strong currents, and that really plays into the hands of the better swimmers. And one name comes to mind, Harry Wiltshire.
I mean, I'm here to try and win it, aren't I? So it's definitely a tactical thing. I'm not interested in trying to get as big a gap as possible. If I come for a win, I'm coming for a win.
Marcus Hultgren will be hoping that Harry Wiltshire doesn't get too far ahead, because the swim is his weakest leg. He generally comes into his own on the bike ride. The Wales Sportive suits him down to a T. 112 miles of really tough Welsh roads, and he knows he can get a little bit of advantage over his rivals if things go well. There are also 2 other distances available, 66 and 45 for those who don't want to go the whole way, but all those wanting a crack at the long course weekend title have to go the 112. Hultgren did 5:13 last year.
I hope I have a strong bike, so I have at least a couple of minutes on Sunday.
And the final event of the weekend is the Wales Marathon. The 1,000 athletes entered into the long course weekend have to do the full 26.2. There is a half marathon option starting in Pembroke, a 10k and a 5k, and they're all heading for Tudor Square in Tenby. Now, Ollie Simon is back again this year. He hasn't won this event for 3 years. His experience will certainly help, but it will be a true test of his training to date.
Marcus is back here to defend, and he's a very strong cyclist, so he's going to try and put the biggest effort in on that cycle leg. And then Harry Wiltshire's here. He's good on swim, bike and run, so he's obviously going to be a hard one to beat.
The women's field is very interesting, and it's a very open race. Paris Edwards is going to be the one to beat, being the defending champion, but she's had injury problems and she's come a long way to defend that title.
Last year was the first time I got to do the full thing, and it was just one of the most special events ever. Really, it was just superb. I've come back from South Africa specifically for this event because it is just that good.
So there's the form book then, but only the true test of competition can decide who comes out on top. It's time for Long Course Weekend 2018 to hit the water.
They're eager to get away, and you may wonder why they need to put in a sprint at the start of a 2.4 mile swim. The reason being that it can save you a lot of time initially, and it saves the bruises as well. So many people in the water. This is the phase that a lot of people have to train for, get used to. You see how they spread out along the coast. They've got some 550 metres to go before they'll go around the first buoy, and the pace at the front is quite unbelievable. Lloyd Rosewell is up in that leading group. The high left arm of Harry Wiltshire is there as well.
I imagine I'm going to be towards the front. I mean, I hope off the back of the swimming I've done, I should be one of the stronger swimmers here. Sometimes there's a surprise and there's someone you don't know about who's really pushing. But hopefully the swims should be reasonably straightforward.
And with athletes like Andrew Horsfall-Turner, who's leading the long course weekend swimmers, it's always going to be fast. Added to that, there are specialist swimmers who are only racing in the whale swim. The margins between the fast and the slow will be big.
The swim I can gain on some of the rivals, and then if there is a couple of faster swimmers, then at least I'll have people around me on the bike tomorrow.
Paris Edwards isn't really recognised as a specialist swimmer, but she does okay here, likes the space and likes the course.
I love this swim, and I always seem to do a good swim here, and in fact I went sub an hour last year, just under 58 minutes, which is a PB full swim for me.
Well, we'll see if she can do that again. If she can, it will certainly set her up well. Here are the masses, and they'll be happy to finish. There is a cut-off time of 2 hours for the full distance today. A lot of neoprene, a lot of goggles. It's a fantastic sight. The leaders round the buoy at the eastern end of the course. And now they head back towards Gosgar Rock. It's a sort of arrowhead-shaped course they're racing this year. Andrew Horsfall-Turner, he set off at a cracking pace and has spread out the leaders like we seldom see. The RNLI on hand, as they are every year. Spotting the boys, so important. 1 or 2 going off course. And you'll see the leaders every 3 or 4 strokes, up comes the head just to check they're going in the right direction. Now with 2 laps they have an Australian exit, and it's Andrew Horsfall-Turner on the right with the yellow cap. He's got a slim lead and some 75 metres on the sand before they go back into the water. Important not to get the pulse rate up too high with that running section, and then to get back into the rhythm. The chasing group, Lloyd Rosewell, we're looking for Harry Wiltshire. There's Rosewell. Harry Wiltshire actually wearing a white cap. His yellow cap must have come off, but that is definitely him, just behind Rosewell. And then Ollie Simon should be through fairly shortly. He was just off the pace of the leaders going around that first lap. There's Ollie Simon, and he knows this course better than anyone else. He has a huge amount of support here. Good to see him back in good form. Julia Anderson, the leading lady, she's put in a tremendous swim. She's an exceptional swimmer. This very much her trump card, and she can certainly swim sub 50 minutes. We'll be interested to see how she gets on. The defending champion Hultgren, he's lost some time to the leaders. He's over 3 minutes behind Wiltshire at the moment. Work to do for the Swede. But remember, the second phase, the bike ride is his strength. This event in its 9th year, the 10th anniversary next year. It started with modest beginnings, but my goodness, the format has taken off. It's huge here in the UK, and it's gone international as well.
8,700 entries, we've got 34 countries, 533 clubs, which is just staggering, really.
The reputation of this event is now worldwide, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We're now in, obviously we're in Sydney, Jarvis Bay, just south of Sydney. We're in Alcudia in Mallorca, and we've just agreed a race in Holland as well. But we're very lucky as well. We've got a quite inclusive race. So we go kids, 5K, 10K, half marathons, marathons. That's the spirit of long course.
Now, the TAF Kids race is always a favourite with the fans, particularly the parents. Nice to see their youngsters involved. It's a short blast, but a taste of competition, and hopefully 1 or 2 of them will be inspired to take up the sport later in life. And those who do will have an opportunity to race in the junior long course weekend. The juniors actually started with the seniors. They've got a 1.2 mile swim, 45 miles on the bike, and then a 10k run to finish off their challenge. In come those doing the 1.2, and in comes Horsfall-Turner. He's swum 2 laps already and now leads the long course weekend.
It's lovely conditions. I was here a couple of years ago and got second then as well. A lot flatter today, weather's a lot better, and just a great time out there.
Only Yevgeny Popasev, who's entered in the whale swim, won't be taking in the long course weekend, managed to beat him. Lloyd Rosewell, good performance from him, just ahead of Harry Wiltshire and Ollie Simon. That will keep the local fans happy. Great start to the event from Ollie Simon. Just 11 seconds down on Harry Wiltshire.
The two went in front of us and they obviously had a bit more firepower and went away, and then we scrapped it out for third and fourth. So I don't know how that puts me for the rest of the weekend, but I guess I'll find out in the morning.
I can see people like Harry, I could see his arms, and so I could see where he was, and he was just ahead of me, so I didn't know too many other people around me, but yeah, it's just about kind of seeing those yellow hats and trying to hold on to them.
Well, here's a yellow hat that slightly underperformed. Hultgren 6 minutes slower than last year, and he's some way behind the leaders.
Lost the group, so I was by myself the whole time, so I don't really know how many yellow caps was past me, but I mean, I swam all I had, so I hope it's good enough.
We will see. He's not even in the top 10 after the swim. Horsfall Turner takes the win, 48.02. Rosewell Wiltshire 2 and 3. Ollie Simon 4 ahead of Martin Anderson. A cracking race from the leaders, and Julia Anderson, the best of the women by a country mile, over 4 minutes clear.
Actually hoping for a little bit faster, to be fair, so but yeah, I was quite surprised to win, so that's great.
And here comes Paris Edwards. She looks absolutely gutted. She's 12 minutes slower than last year. The tides had an effect on her.
Just didn't feel good in the water, and the tide is certainly stronger than last year. Last year was like a mill pond, but this year you really felt like you were swimming into something. But yeah, just one of those swims.
So both defending champions struggling a little. Julia Anderson, she's played her trump card, but impressive nonetheless. Linda Evans, Sian Clement in 2 and 3. Jill Cliff, she's been on the podium for the last 2 years. Be interesting to see what she can do in the next couple of days. The agony and the ecstasy, they've all done incredibly well. 2.4 miles completed.
Well, I think I went the long way round, but it was enjoyable, very enjoyable.
At one point I thought I was getting really close, like to see orange, and it was a lifeboat, it wasn't the boy, I was gutted.
It was much harder than I thought. Fair play. It's mad with all the swimmers all together. It's great fun though, great experience with everyone watching.
Awesome scenes as ever here in Tenby as Long Course Weekend gets underway. At the front, the first moves have been made. Let's see how the others fight back. Welcome back to Tenby for Long Course Weekend 2018. It's Saturday morning and the second day of competition is about to start. There's 112 miles of scenic South Wales countryside to cover, providing a chance for cycling specialists to take control.
1 down, 2 to go. Yesterday was all about the arms. Today it's all about leg power.
Feeling it a little bit this morning?
On the shoulders, but I'll push through it.
So the Wales Sportif, 112 miles for those on the Long Course Weekend, 66 and 45 mile options, and there are plenty of takers for both.
There's Team 10B, there's another one over there from Newport. You've got a lot of competition out there.
It's all right. It's all right. We're confident, quietly confident.
Brilliant, good luck.
Only the top 10 from the swim get to go down the ramp, plus the legends from Long Course Weekend, those who've completed in all the events since it started 9 years ago. Nicky Rees is one of them. How many years can he keep this going? He must have done over 1,200 miles on long course events alone. Great effort from him, a 1:02 swim, and he's just outside the top 30. Here are the top 10 in the women's event. Julia Anderson, a 54.26 in the water. Impressive stuff. Paris Edwards was way off the mark.
I mean, I'm always coming out of the water with a deficit, and then, you know, you've got 180k on the bike to make it up. It's, you know, a 15-minute margin isn't big for that.
So Paris Edwards ready to go on day 2. She did a 5:47 last year. She needs something similar if she's going to get anywhere near defending her title. Marcus Hultgren is even quicker than that. He did a 4:34 in the Ironman event in Tallinn. What can he do today? He's moved up into the top 10 because Andrew Horsfall-Turner, the fastest in the water, has withdrawn. And so Hultgren gets to go off the ramp, but he's 6:49 behind Lloyd Rosewell. Work to do for the Swede.
I need to do something today too in it, definitely. I need to catch up with the guys in the top, but I mean, you have Ollie and you have Harry, of course, and they're 6.5 minutes ahead of me, but it's possible, but it's going to be tough.
Over 5.5 hours of racing. This is where the Cycle Guard long course weekend could well be decided. It's a big occasion for the likes of Jill Cliff. Twice she's finished in second place. 5th after the swim, that will do. But she needs something spectacular on the bike as well. Now, Ollie Simon, big day for him. Last won this title back in 2015. He was second in 2016. He'd love to get it back this year.
Hopefully there'll be some decent riders around me so that I can get some help on that 112 rather than a solo time trial.
Well, he might get lucky and have someone to ride with. Harry Wiltshire, second after the swim. I think Harry will be happy. He can chase down Ollie Simon. Julia Anderson starts for the women. And the question is how long she can hold off the rest of the women's field. Here's Harry Wiltshire. He'll be looking for company as well on his way round.
I wouldn't have minded a wheel for part of it. I wouldn't have minded an alliance and then maybe to push on in the second half. But I haven't got that choice, so I'm just going to have to get my head down.
Well, he's pushing a big gear, is Harry Wiltshire, and covering the ground very fast indeed.
I don't know what's in front of me, but it'd be nice to catch Ollie. See what happens.
Well, that's obviously his intention. Those two cycle at pretty much the same level. And here we have Ollie Simon, who's teamed up here with Chris Holman. And Holman at the moment enjoying a bit of a free ride. It's a fast course on the downhills. There are some really stiff uphills that they've got to negotiate. Full concentration required. And Ollie Simon is in race mode. This is what we saw back in 2015 when he won the title. Oh, well, how about that? Just as we say, he's looking focused. A loss of concentration for Ollie Simon, and he goes down at some 25, 30 mile an hour. Well, if you're going to crash, choose effectively a hayfield. He's struck a little bit lucky. A look over his shoulder, probably to see where Holman or Wiltshire were, and he's off the road, and let's just hope he's okay. Bits of his helmet flying left, right and centre. There's a bit of blood on his left knee, and he's already put the chain back on, and remarkably the wheels look all right, the steering looks okay, the body is in one piece. He's back on the road. Well, that takes some doing from Ollie Simon, and his pulse rate will still be at about 250. Shock may well play a part. He's going to struggle over the next couple of miles. Well, what drama from the four-time champion. Has that ruined his chances of making it 5? You can see a little graze on the elbow. I think he's got away remarkably lightly. Cautiously down the hill towards Freshwater West. Beautiful beach that's been used for a couple of films. Robin Hood and Harry Potter fans will recognise it. Now, this is Linda Evans, who's Harry Wiltshire's partner. She's going okay.
I've not done an Ironman distance before. I've not done a long course, so moving up from a middle distance, I think it'll be good for me to have a bit of recovery between time and hopefully give some good performances.
Well, sure, she's had some advice from Harry on how to pace this race. That, I guess, is the toughest thing when you've never raced over this sort of distance before. The hours you're out on the road, and with a course like this, you have to save something for the back end. The scenery is stunning. But Harry Wiltshire, for one, is still in race mode, and it is Ollie Simon tucked in behind Harry Wiltshire. Now, with these two men teaming up, that makes life very, very tough for the good runners like Gareth Petts and Richard Gardner. Wiltshire doing the bulk of the work, but I think Ollie Simon deserves a rest after the crash that he had earlier on. Interesting situation.
The fact that it's draft legal on the bike is not something that you come across anywhere else. So it's effectively could be a 110-mile team time trial. And if there's people that you know are going to run fast, it's worth forming an alliance on the bike and working with someone else to try and get those gaps.
Well, Wiltshire will certainly want Simon to do his fair share of the work. Marcus Hultgren has been on his own since the start. This is not good news for the defending champion. And it looks as though he's got a flat. The front wheel, I think it is, that's gone down. And this is the second time today that he's had a puncture. Well, that's desperately unlucky for Hultgren. And it's slipping away from him, even at this stage of the race. He's going to find it incredibly hard to come back. Wiltshire, Simon still working together. And they pass Hultgren. I'm not sure they even will have noticed the Swede. If they did, it will have given them a boost. Well, it's just a bit of bad luck for Hultgren. And a shame that his title defence seems to be slipping away. Carew Castle in the background. One of the great sights on this spectacular course around South Pembrokeshire. And on a day like this, it's hard to beat. Linda Evans, second after the swim. I think she's now in the lead in the long course weekend because she's certainly gained a lot of time on Julia Anderson. Paris Edwards still looking focused. Edwards the fastest out on the road at the moment, but not massively so. We're also seeing some good splits from Victoria Neelan. She's going well. Rebecca Vermeer, she's produced some cracking time so far. Back with the leading men there into Saundersfoot. This is St Bride's Hill. It's the toughest, steepest, best supported section of the course, and they go round it twice. King of the Hill up for grabs, but Wiltshire and Simon surely won't be going for that today. They're concerned with the big overall prize on Sunday evening. And the second time up this climb, incidentally, they'll only have some 5 miles to go. One or two putting in a burst, trying to get themselves on the top of the King of the Hill list. They may well pay a price. And the Samba band will just spur them on that little bit. Marcus Hultgren, he's lost a lot of time, 2 punctures already. He needed to beat his big rivals today. It doesn't look as though that is going to happen. Paris Edwards is going well in the women's race, but they're only halfway in the Wales Sportive, and there's a lot of drama to come yet. Halfway through the Wales Sportif on day 2 of the Cycle Guard long course weekend, and what a race it's been so far. Ollie Simon with the most spectacular crash. Remarkably, he's in one piece and his bike's still working as well. Marcus Hultgren, the defending champion, a couple of punctures for him has pretty much put him out of contention. Harry Wiltshire and Ollie Simon working well together in these stages as they go past Hultgren. And the Swede looks as if he'll give away 10-15 minutes at least on the bike ride. Into the feed station together for Wiltshire and Simon, and unusually Ollie Simon taking his time and costing himself the assistance of Harry Wiltshire. Wiltshire is long gone. Well, we'll wait and see whether Simon has the power in his legs to catch up again. Took him a little bit of a time to recover from the crash, but he seems to have been doing okay since then. And he's certainly still in a competitive position. Hultgren, though, likely to give away too much time. Usually cracks 5:15 on the bike ride, likely to be closer to 5.5 this time round. He's going to have to run himself to victory, but that is not something that he's done very often. Good speed position on the downhill. And now settles back down on the tri-bars. Wiltshire, second time up the climb as he exits Saundersfoot for the second time. He's nearly there. and his experience has certainly paid off today.
I've done this course a few times and I know it's the second time around the second loop that decides the race. If you push too hard and you blow on that second loop, you can lose 30-40 minutes.
Well, he's the Keltman champion from this year, set a course record in that tough event, and he seems to have carried his form forward, but he certainly won't throw any caution to the wind. Just pace himself nicely through to the finish, save something for the final day. Ollie Simon, all sorts of ups and downs today, but he's experienced enough to cope with the odd problem. Now the early starters coming in across the line. Big smiles from most of them, and smiles of relief, I might suggest. Now here's a man who's pushing for every second. It is, of course, Harry Wiltshire, who's putting himself in a very strong position. Had a fabulous swim yesterday. Came out of the water just over 50 minutes, and this is going to be just over 5 hours 15. Well, that's another outstanding performance from Harry Wiltshire. He sets himself up nicely for the final day.
The marathon's going to be tough. It looks like I'm in a good position where I can sit with people and watch them and follow rather than having to attack and lead. So that might help me, because I'm not sure I've quite got the legs for a full marathon. I did one 3 weeks ago, so I'm still recovering.
There's a lot of punishment in a month. Ollie Simon doesn't look particularly happy, but considering what happened, he's done well to finish.
I don't know if I swerved off on the verge or something, but like just went straight up onto the grass and took a couple of bumps and went down quite hard, but it was all right after that. Just kind of took the wind out of me a bit.
Well, credit to him for finishing. He's not the only one to have suffered with over 75 big climbs on the course. The muscles have paid a price, and they'll be hoping they recover before tomorrow morning. Here's Marcus Hultgren, some 20 minutes slower than he was last year. It's just not happening.
Double puncture, like first front wheel and then back wheel. It's, of course, that takes time to actually puncture, but then you kind of lose the edge a little bit when it happens. You see Ollie and Harry pass me in the first puncture.
So all change in the leaderboard. Harry Wiltshire goes to the top after the Wales Sportif. Ollie Simon in a good position, 6:44 behind. He might fancy his chances. Gareth Petts, watch out for him. Richard Gardner, another extraordinarily good runner. They could make it very exciting indeed. Jill Cliff, second in the long course weekend last year, second in Mallorca as well.
I did exactly the same time as last year, I think, which I'm quite pleased with because I feel better. But it's the same time, whereas last year I just felt really quite awful afterwards. So yeah, quite pleased with that.
And with just under 6:13, she's now got the third fastest bike time. Paris Edwards has just put herself to the top of the leaderboard with her performance after a disappointing swim yesterday, but it's the run that is going to test the injuries that she's had over the last couple of months.
I want to finish on top today, and then Paris the physio has a discussion with Paris the athlete about running tomorrow. Yeah, I'll make a call later and just see how I feel.
Well, let's hope she stays in the race. This is Linda Evans. She's had a cracking ride. Under 6 hours 10 puts her in contention for the overall for tomorrow. I think Harry will be happy with the way she's gone.
Everything's a bit tight now. I mean, being in the time trial position, it hurts your back. It makes everything sore. So yeah, going loose enough now and maybe go and get in the sea, go for a little paddle.
So let's check the women's leaderboard. Paris Edwards up on top, 7:07.34. Linda Evans just 17 seconds behind. Clements in 3. Neelan, who's advanced a huge amount today with a great ride. And Jill Cliff still sitting in 5th position. Plenty of teams, plenty of clubs out there cycling together. A lot of fun to be had out on the course. And how about this? Now, I'm not sure how far this gentleman has been running, but that is one way to finish a sportive.
Incredible! Amazing!
Plenty of emotion.
Felt good?
Yeah, enjoyed. Feel better now it's done.
And the second of the 4 medals awarded as they come across the line.
fantastic atmosphere out on course. It makes you feel like you're on a mountain stage in Tour de France, basically, so it's been a good day out.
Brilliant support. All of Tenby's come out to help us on, and yeah, we've really enjoyed it.
Through the finishing line up there with all the people and that, it was absolutely amazing. I just wanted to cry.
2 phases complete, 1 to go. The toughest of all, the Wales Marathon, to decide the long course weekend for 2018.
For the Sportif riders, that's the end of a great day in the saddle. They can now soak up the sunshine and atmosphere here in Tenby. But for the long course weekend athletes, there's still one more challenge to come, the Wales Marathon. Just a short night's sleep to get themselves ready. Welcome back to Long Course Weekend, where the titles are about to be decided in the drama of the final stage, the Wales Marathon. The route takes runners 26.2 miles from Tenby to Pembroke and back. It is beautiful, but it comes at a cost. It's also tough.
Some would say it's brutal. It really is a tough marathon course. For those not wanting to go the whole distance, we've got a half marathon, a 10k, a 5k that will be short and sharp and full of youngsters. It's a real festival of running. There's Harry Wiltshire on the left talking to Gareth Petts, whose bike ride yesterday has put him back in contention. He did a 5:21, and as you can see, he's gone up into 4th place. So we've got Petts and Gardner, the 2 quickest runners in the top 6. Harry Wiltshire will know exactly what he's got to do. He will have done his maths.
It's Richie Gardner, who's obviously the super fast runner, but he's going to have to go kind of 2:40 to catch me if I run 3 hours. So my choices are either to try and go with him and see if I can do the same and risk blowing sky high, or to try and hit for 3 and say, well, if someone else can run sub 2:40, it's all theirs. We'll see what happens.
My history as a marathon runner is of a very high level, but you know, I'm well over 10 years past those days. I'm 45, but yeah, I'm a competitor, and I like competing, and I know how to compete, so who knows?
So Paris Edwards' head has ruled her heart. The physio ruled the athlete. She is not running in the marathon. Her defence is over. Everyone moves up 1 place. Evans now top, Clements 2, Neelan 3, and that's a real shame for Paris Edwards.
It is so hard pulling out. I was walking down remembering the finish from last year and just thinking, is there any way I can run this? But I've had such a struggle with injury, and I was doing some permutations, had a chat with my coach, and it just would be too big a risk. It's just not wise.
So she's had an injury with the bottom of her foot, the plantar fascia, that is excruciatingly painful. She's decided to run in the 5k race along with the kids, and that really is the spirit of the long course weekend. Everyone delighted to have her in there, but disappointed that she's not going to be defending her title.
With her not running now, it leaves the field wide open, really. There's quite a few of us who are all quite similar time at the minute, so I think anyone could win it.
So 26.2 miles to go on closed roads with 3 significant climbs. And once again, it's Richie Gardner who hits the front. We've seen this year after year. The question is, what time can he crack? I think he needs a sub 2:40 if he's going to win the long course title. It would be fantastic in his final long course weekend race. Retirement just round the corner for Gardner. He's had a fabulous career, and he'd love to round it off with a win in the Wales Marathon today. Many not so concerned with time. It's all about getting to the finish, picking up that 3rd and 4th medal. Petts on the left of your screen, the leading long course athlete, and he is hungry, having been so close before on more than one occasion.
I missed out by 4 minutes in 2015. I got my nutrition wrong a little bit in 2016 after the bike, and kind of blew up on the marathon. I've learned a lot since then, so if everything goes to plan, then hopefully it will come together.
Muscular looking for a marathon runner, but Petts is setting a tough pace. Comes from Oxfordshire, and Richie Gardner behind him, not looking so happy with the speed in the opening stages of the Wales Marathon. Petts needs around 2 hours 40 as well, to put any pressure at all onto Harry Wiltshire, who started relatively conservatively. Richie Gardner, definitely the most experienced of the leading contenders, and with that experience you'd back him to get his pacing right.
This course is the hardest course, marathon course that I've ever competed on. Even standalone without the swim and the ride in your legs, it's a race that you have to respect. Not only the distance, but the course. It's a tough one.
And here's Harry Wiltshire, number 931. He is setting approximately a 3-hour pace at the moment. Now that means that Petts has got to run 2:39, Gardner's got to run 2:33. It certainly looks as though Harry Wiltshire has got his tactics right here. Still, things can change. The marathon can bite anyone on a particular day. Victoria Nealon is setting the pace in the women's race. We're waiting to see how she started. There she is. Not so impressive in the swim. She was 30 minutes behind the fastest time, but she had a cracking bike ride yesterday, 6 hours, 2 minutes, 27 seconds, and that really has given her a good chance of winning the long course weekend. It's only her second year of triathlon, a phenomenal record she's got. British age group champion last year as well. Here's Gareth Petts, the personal trainer and well-being consultant from Oxfordshire, doing his reputation no harm at all.
When do you think the race is going to be decided?
Now. I don't know what I've got on the guys behind, but I've just got to hold this pace. I know I'm running strong. So my race plan is good. We'll see about the others.
Golden rule of marathon running, make sure you can talk relatively easily. So Petts is living by that at the moment, but this course gets harder and harder as it goes on. Richie Gardner, number 3, second in the long course weekend last year, did a marathon time of 2:45. Be impressive if he could repeat that. Harry Wiltshire, he's the man who holds all the cards and he's playing them right.
I'm certainly not going to be heading out on a marathon on Sunday morning to try and break a record for the first 10k and then risk being sat by the side of the road. I'll race it tactically and see how I go.
That is certainly the way to go. He set his priority to win the event, not to break any records on any of the stages. And he's got some good company. Linda Evans leading the long course weekend after day 2, but her pace has slowed dramatically. Just wondering whether she's got an injury problem. Nerys Jones gaining good ground on Evans just behind her, who's finished on the podium in this event before. Well, that's very concerning for Evans as we go to Victoria Nealon, who's leading the Wales Marathon and is in a fabulous position to challenge for the title here. On the far side, Jill Cliff. Can she get herself up into the top 2? Second last year, second the year before. She's making a habit of that. Nerys Jones still looking comfortable. And the masses enjoying a fabulous day out. I must say, one of my favourite things about this event is the 2 evenings in between the racing to allow socialising and just chatting to people who have a like mind. Harry Wiltshire now coming towards the halfway and applauded by those who are doing the half marathon race. That's another fantastic feature of the long course weekend. Nealon looking strong, and we've just heard that Linda Evans has withdrawn, so Nealon now is leading the Wales Marathon and she's leading the long course weekend. What a surprise! And I suspect it's a big surprise for her as well. Now she's just got to stay strong for another 13.1 miles. The party atmosphere as good as it's ever been. The weather has played its part. And away go the half marathon runners. Gareth Petts is anything but slow. What a race he's had so far.
It's starting to hurt now.
Great scenery, but his eyes focused on the tarmac some 5 metres in front of him. Gardner finding the temperature just a little bit too much. 1 in the mouth, 2 over the head. That should bring the core temperature down just enough. Harry Wiltshire past Manorbier Castle, 10 kilometres to go, and all the 10k runners waiting to get under starters' orders. But first they applaud the marathon runners as they come towards the latter stages of their race. A gruelling race it's been too. The hills are tough, but on the positive side, the views are spectacular. And the atmosphere for those starting the 10k is just as lively as all the other races, and they're all heading towards Tudor Square in Tenby, where they will get a royal welcome. Well, this man has taken all the risks today. He set a really tough pace early on. Petts, he's delighted that he's kept it going. He's been hurting badly for the last 10,000 metres. But he's into Tenby now. The emotion's starting to get towards Gareth Petts. He's going to win the Wales Marathon, no doubt about that. But has he done enough to take the long course weekend as well? I'm not sure he has. He's outrun Richie Gardner. That takes some doing. At 45, it's the end of the road for Gardner until he decides he just needs a bit more competition. Round the final corner for Gareth Petts, onto the red carpet, and he takes victory in the Wales Marathon, and you can see just how much it means to him. 2:45.56, the unofficial time for Petts. That's a tremendous run. Remember, he had 112 miles on the bike yesterday. Richie Gardner, he's come close so many times. We have to wait and see whether he's done enough to get on the podium in the long course weekend. He said it himself, this is the toughest marathon course he has ever run, and he'll know just what a job Petts has done.
Rich was pulling me in, and I thought at mile 23 it pulled it back to about 40-45 seconds, and I thought that was it, but I guess everyone was suffering at that point, and it was just hopping on to the end and knowing that no one could catch me. Oh, it's amazing.
It's no good me catching him if I drop out of a cramp attack. The margins are so fine, you're on that red line. The cramp can kick in at any time. Your head starts to go, you get a bit dizzy. So you run and let the race take its toll. But they asked me out there a couple of times, do you think you'll catch him? And I was like, I just need to get home.
Every single ounce of energy left out on the roads today. Maybe not for Harry Wiltshire. He's run this tactically, and there's still plenty of running in those long legs of his. It's going to be a long course weekend title for Harry Wiltshire. He's only just outside the 9-hour mark. A 50-minute swim, 5:16 on the bike yesterday, and a 2:55.22 marathon for Harry Wiltshire. He is the true all-rounder, having started his career as a specialist swimmer. Brilliant stuff. So, the results in the men's Cycle Guard long course weekend for 2018. Chipping in third, Gareth Petts 2, and Harry Wiltshire, the champion.
Been doing a lot of kind of serious racing over the years, and this year was all about having a bit more fun, doing different things, doing races that have got a real atmosphere and a real buzz about them, and this has fitted the bill 100%. It's been a fantastic time.
Victoria Neelan, nowhere to be seen after the first day, but she's got stronger and stronger. Today she does the double. She takes the Wales Marathon and she takes the long course weekend as well. Look at that, 10:31.59, fabulous effort. And Jill Cliff, believe it or not, in second place for the third year in succession, ahead of Rebecca Vermeer.
It's been quite a surprise. I wasn't quite expecting it to go the way it has, but it's been really good. I really enjoyed it.
So she should have done. Winning is great, but only one person can experience that. But everyone in their own way has taken a victory just by finishing.
The crowd, the kids, the water station, you know, they really get you going again. 26 miles of that without them people, you ain't doing that.
The atmosphere, the crowd, and they let the kids run in with you, which is great.
Sports everywhere, all the way around the course, so you just get those little top-ups as you go around, so yeah, fantastic.
Well, this sort of event sells out in a matter of minutes, and it's the atmosphere, it's the supporters, and of course the venue that makes all the difference. Stephen Rogers and Nicky Rees, the only two remaining long course legends, handing out that all-important fourth medal to add to the swim, the bike and the run medals. Hopefully they'll be back again next year to make it 10 out of 10. 1,000 starters in the long course weekend, 620 finishers, and they form the Guard of Honour here in Tenby for the top three. Rebecca Vermeer takes third place, just behind Jill Cliff, 48-year-old from Kent, who now has 3 successive runners-up finishes. And it's Victoria Neelan who takes the top prize this year. Only her second year of triathlon. She's got some future ahead of her. In the men's race, Matt Chipping, brilliant marathon to put himself into the podium positions. Gareth Petts, well, he was sensational. What a run, 2:45.56 to challenge Harry Wiltshire. A quick swim and he will be competitive. And the winner for 2018, Harry Wiltshire, 21st in the World Championships in Kona last year. He's a world-class triathlete and he's come to Tenby and he has conquered the long course weekend. That will be high on his list of honours.
Congratulations to our brand new champions, Victoria Neelan and Harry Wiltshire. For everyone else who's taken on long course weekend, it's been just as tough. They have earned every single one of those medals and every single one of those memories. Until next time from here in Tenby, we'll see you soon.